Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Anudeep Durishetty, Shruti Sharma, and Ishita Kishore.
Hello aspirants, welcome to another part of the series where we are going to discuss another ideological stance that is quite connected to something that we have covered previously. This series aims to help you to understand some of the basic concepts of political science optional subject and actually prepare you for full-fledged foundation course. Okay, and it is going to be really helpful, especially to those who do not have any background in this subject, but have chosen this particular optional subject. Okay, so the topic that we are going to take today is the ideological position called libertarianism. Okay, this ideological position overlaps quite a lot, you can say, with classical liberalism that you have covered in the last part. Okay, but it also departs from classical liberalism or liberalism in general in significantly in some major points. And you should also recall episode 6 of this series where you saw left-right division in politics. There you must be able to recall that libertarianism as an ideological position did not fit into that division, or you can say the linear spectrum of political ideology that we saw there. Okay, so today we are going to understand it, another term that is used quite frequently, but I have also seen that many students do not have clarity with respect to the point of difference between libertarianism and seemingly similar other ideological positions. Okay, so in the last video, you saw liberalism. You understood the meaning of liberalism, what this ideological position actually means. And there you saw that this liberalism progressed by attacking feudalism, absolutism, firstly acquiring the form of what you call classical liberalism, which stood against state intervention in the economic and personal affairs of individuals, resulting into an economic organization based on market capitalism. Okay, there what classical liberals actually proposed was non-interventionist, laissez-faire doctrine, whereby individuals are considered to be largely self-sufficient and the owner, the exclusive owner of their self, and so the exclusive owner of the property that they produce by using their labor. So that is classical liberalism. But then, as it progressed, it resulted into some kind of social evils, which were the natural repercussions of unrestrained, unregulated capitalism. Okay, so in order to solve those evils, those problems in society, you saw another variant of liberalism emerging that was called modern liberalism, as it favored on the welfare of individuals, seeing freedom in the positive light. So it was more favorable to state intervention, considered state intervention necessary to solve the problems that were the result of classical liberalism, or that were the result of, you can say, the unrestrained capitalism. Okay, so modern liberalism sought to rectify, correct, you can say, rectify those problems that were an outcome of unrestrained, unregulated capitalism. But what modern liberalism actually resulted into? Some kind of major shift in the governmental policy, quite clearly seen in the fiscal policy of governments. We are talking about Europe, Western Europe, North America here. So the governments there started taxing people more so that it could start delivering more welfare. Okay, so start indulging in some kind of, you can say, some kind of redistributive schemes, taking money from the rich and giving it to poor in form of certain welfare schemes, or taking care of their health or education, or something like that. Okay, so that is modern liberalism. We are discussing about the reforms that took place under the larger umbrella of liberalism only. There was another ideological revolution that was going on alongside liberalism, that was Marxism and socialism, that you can say also compelled liberalism to make this kind of departure from its classical stance. But that is something that we are going to see and understand in another video, where we are going to see Marxism and socialism. Okay, so within liberalism, how it actually acquired a new dimension in form of modern liberalism, you see that happening in some major shifts that took place in the instance of a state, in the policies of the government, whereby it became more interventionist. Okay, so a state became more interventionist to deliver welfare to the people, and it started intervening more in the personal and economic domain. Okay, so now we are talking about things happening in 20th century, last century. Okay, and libertarianism arose at this point against this background, where a state has acquired a lot more interventionist instance. Okay, so what libertarianism actually meant and what it actually proposed. Libertarianism was against this widening or ever widening role of a state in the personal and economic domain. It pointed out that this liberal tradition has departed from some fundamental principles that it stood for at some point of time in history. And what it wanted, a kind of resurgence of those principles that were there in classical liberalism. Okay? But it is not simply the revival of classical liberalism, it is more than that. Okay, so for libertarians, what actually matters is the liberty, or you can say freedom. Here we can use these two terms synonymously, although these are not exactly the same words. Okay, they carry different meanings. So for libertarians, what is of utmost importance is liberty or freedom of individuals. Okay, and they are very much against any kind of state intervention in the personal or economic domain. Okay, they are very much attached with the principle or the idea that individuals are self-sufficient, they are the owner, ultimate owner of their self, and thus whatever they are going to produce by using their labor, they are completely entitled to that. Okay, so they are going to be against such fiscal policies which propose bigger schemes of taxation, or you can say increases the taxation, or any redistributive scheme of the government, because that in one way or the other is an encroachment over the individual's domain or in the domain of economic freedom. Okay, so libertarians are against that. Now this point is very important, because what libertarians are actually doing is proposing some kind of anti-statism. Okay, and this makes it look like what you know as anarchism. Okay, but there is a difference, and difference needs to be understood here. So anarchism considers a state to be an unnecessary evil that is not required. State is not required. Okay, in classical liberals, you see state as necessary evil, because liberalism prioritizes liberty as well as order in the society. Okay, so for liberals, what is important is liberty as well as order. But for libertarians, what is important is liberty. And that cannot be should not be sacrificed even for order in the society. Okay, so anarchists are also anti-statist. They also consider state to be unnecessary evil. But unlike libertarians, anarchists are not going to support uncompromising individualism. Anarchists are not going to support the economic organization based on unrestrained market capitalism. Rather, they are going to support, or they are going to propose a system or society where human sociability or cooperation among human beings is at the center, rather than market capitalism. Okay, so libertarians and anarchists both agree on a point that the state should not be there. Okay, but then anarchists are not going to be very much concerned about individuals' liberty or individuals' freedom. They will be talking about cooperation at the level of society, sociability. Okay, now two very clear-cut ideological positions that libertarians propose is this. Firstly, the principle or the doctrine of laissez-faire, that can be literally translated as leave to do. Okay, you know this doctrine by this classical economist Adam Smith, who proposed this leave to do. That means unrestrained or constrained no government intervention. That is how you understand it. And second principle or pillar of libertarianism is individual rights. Okay, so these are the two pillars of libertarian doctrine. What it results into, what laissez-faire would actually result into? A kind of economic organization where things are completely driven by market. Governmental intervention is being considered unnecessary and also damaging. And individual rights means, now what is of paramount importance is the rights that individuals have, so that they will be exercising, they will be able to have a domain where they will be completely free. So individual rights actually prioritizes liberty, the freedom that individuals have. Rights are the guarantee of that freedom that they possess, that they have. Okay? And there, again, if these are the two pillars, don't you think that this brings libertarianism quite close to what you know as classical liberalism? Okay? But the major point of difference between libertarians and classical liberals or liberalism in general is this, that libertarians, along with these two principles that are pillars that they have, also prioritizes liberty over order or authority or tradition or anything. Okay, so liberty of individuals cannot be compromised for maintaining order, for maintaining any kind of public authority. While liberals are not going to give liberty this much importance, that it does not give any accord, or it does not accord any importance to order or any system in the society or in the entity, political entity where people are actually living. Okay, so libertarians consider liberty to be of utmost importance. Okay, and then along with these two principles, which are to be found in common with liberalism, libertarians depart from classical liberalism. Okay, so as I said, that it is not simply the revival of classical liberalism in modern times. It is more than that. It is actually about according the importance, the central importance to liberty or freedom of individuals, which must not be compromised or sacrificed for the sake of order or system in the society. Okay, now still you can make a distinction between libertarians there you find two kind of libertarians. The first is anarcho-capitalist. Understand the term here, anarcho-capitalist. You just understood anarchism. So anarcho-capitalist means those who are going to favor capitalism, at the same time they will consider state to be an unnecessary evil. So anarcho-capitalist consider state an unnecessary evil. Okay, I'm telling you that even libertarians are of two kinds. And the second kind of libertarians, you can call them minarchist. Instead of completely considering a state to be unnecessary, they consider minimal role of a state. Minimal role of a state. Okay? So this is another way to look at libertarians. So some go to the extent of being anarcho-capitalist. That means they don't want the state at all. And others consider a state's role to be quite minimum. Okay, so instead of being called anarcho-capitalist, they are called minarchist. So they fashion themselves as minarchist, the least or minimum role to the state. Okay, another point that you should know here, although you are going to study that in detail in your foundation course, there is another ideological position, or the term that you are going to study in good detail is neoliberalism. Okay, because the emergence of neoliberalism is actually happening at the same time and in response to the same interventionist tendencies of the state in 20th century. Okay, so libertarians found the widening state's intervention to be quite problematic. They considered it to be an overreach in the personal and economic domain. Okay, neoliberals also favored market capitalism, also favored individual liberty, but they did notice the importance of the state or importance of the state's role in maintaining that economic system, which is to be primarily driven by market. Okay, now you can understand the difference between libertarianism and neoliberalism through this example. Consider a case whereby economy is facing certain crisis. Okay? So libertarians would argue that no, economic organization must be solely based on market capitalism, and it should not be interfered with any kind of governmental intervention. So state doesn't have to play any role in economy. Corollary is this, that state doesn't have to play any role in the crisis of the economy also. While neoliberals would otherwise want a very strong role of state, a very strong state, so that every time economy is in the crisis, state is able to bring the economy out of that crisis. State is able to keep the inflation at a good level, comfortable level. State is able to adopt a certain fiscal policy which continuously favors the market. So that is the kind of a state that neoliberals want. Okay, leaving things to the private sector only, but then remaining powerful or capable to save economy from any kind of crisis. Constantly monitoring the macroeconomic indicators so that economy does not revert back to crisis. Okay, so this is the role of a state that neoliberals want, while libertarians are more categorical in denying any kind of need of a state when it comes to economic organization, or when it comes to the domain of individuals and economy. Okay, so this is the point of difference. This is another point of difference that you can make to further clarify your understanding of libertarianism. Okay, now the same ideological tradition has also been criticized. Firstly, it has been criticized for completely ignoring the responsibilities that individuals have towards society. And as it considers individuals to be quite self-sufficient and to be the complete to be such that they are completely entitled for the property that they produce by using their labor. So what they actually ignore in this proposal is this, that individuals are also indebted to their social environment for the talent that they possess, or for the skills or the knowledge that they have, by using which they are able to produce that property. Okay, so libertarianism makes individuals completely entitled to something that they produce by their own labor, and ignores that how much indebted they are towards their society, to their social environment, for all the talent that they have, using which they are going to produce that property. So responsibility towards society and this indebtedness that individuals have towards society, that is completely ignored by libertarianism. Okay, so we are going to see the criticism, the attack on liberalism and this libertarian tradition in the next videos, where we are going to see Marxism and socialism, the essence of those ideological positions. So this is all. Thank you.